give her the keys. No? My name is Avery Quinn. I'm 35, and what happened at my sister's wedding still replays in my head like a slow-motion clip. Picture this: 200 guests packed into a glass-walled ballroom overlooking the Chicago River, chandeliers glittering above the dance floor, champagne glasses raised, then crack. My mother's palm connected with my face so hard I tasted blood, and the mic squealed loud enough to make the speakers shake. The room froze. My champagne flute slipped, spider-webbing against the marble floor. Why? Because I said no. I refused to hand over the keys to my penthouse, the one place I've built with my own sweat and sleepless nights. She demanded it, right there on the microphone, like I was nothing more than a wallet in heels. And when I didn't cave, her hand did the talking. What no one expected was that I wasn't just her difficult daughter. I was holding cards she didn't even know existed. And that slap? It wasn't the end. It was the trigger. If you've ever been humiliated by the very people who were supposed to protect you, you'll understand why I chose revenge over silence. Before I take you back to that morning, the dress, the whispers, the plan they thought I'd never overhear. Do me one favor. Hit like only if you believe boundaries matter, and drop your city and time zone in the comments. I want to know who's watching and where you're standing your ground. Because trust me, this story, it's about standing your ground when your own family tries to take everything. That slap wasn't where the story began. To understand why my mother thought she could humiliate me in front of 200 people, you have to rewind to that morning. I got to the Harbor and Hemsley Hotel at 10 a.m. The lobby smelled of lilies and lemon polish, the kind of scent that screams money. The ballroom upstairs glittered. White roses, gold runners, candles, and crystal holders. Everything was picture perfect, exactly the wedding Lila had sketched in her diary since she was 13. And me? I had poured $50,000 into making it happen. Not that anyone mentioned it. Not once. The first words out of my mom's mouth when she saw me weren't, "Thank you." They were, "Avery, that suit again? You look like you're heading to a board meeting, not your sister's big day." Her tone sliced sharper than the stilettos she forced onto Lila's feet. I smoothed the lapel of my navy silk blazer. Tailored, clean, professional. It was me. It was success. But in her eyes, it was wrong. Lila floated across the room in her lace gown, a halo of soft curls, the golden child as always. Mom beamed, comparing us like she'd rehearsed it. "See how radiant your sister looks, a proper bride. You'll understand when you finally settle down, if you ever do." My chest burned, but I smiled tightly. I'd heard that line 1,000 times. Too ambitious, too cold, too much. What they didn't know? By Monday morning, I was set to close a $120 million development deal, one that would be covered in the Financial Times, a deal that hinged on me showing up clear-headed, not emotionally shredded. But here, in my own family, none of that mattered. In their story, I was still the problem daughter. Dad called me over to check the seating chart. Divorced couples sitting side by side, old rivals at the same table. It was a mess. "Don't reorganize everything like you always do," he muttered, as if competence was a crime. I bit my tongue. I could fix it in 5 minutes, but why bother? Being right only made me difficult again. Then came the whispers. Cousins smirking. "Still no ring, Avery?" Aunts patting my arm with fake pity. "Your sister will give your parents grandkids soon, thank God." I wanted to shout that I chose to be single, that I refused to shrink just to make a man comfortable. Instead, I adjusted a crooked centerpiece, steady hands masking the sting. And then, the jab that almost made me laugh. Aunt Marjorie chirped, "How's that little apartment of yours in the city? Must be cozy." I corrected softly, "It's a penthouse, actually." The group burst into laughter. Lila tilted her head, faux sweet. She exaggerates. Last year, she said she bought a Tesla. Can you imagine? I had. It was parked right outside. But I just smiled. Inside my clutch, my phone buzzed. A reminder from my concierge about a delivery scheduled for tomorrow. Floor 58, 4,000 square feet. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan. Paid in full. No mortgage. My sanctuary. And yet, in this room, it was treated like a fantasy I'd made up. Invisible. That's what I'd been trained to be in this family. The ghost who funded dreams but never starred in them. That's why when I overheard Dad whisper later, "After the toast, we'll announce it. Avery will hand them the penthouse." My blood ran cold. They weren't just ungrateful. They were plotting an ambush. And in that moment, between the smell of roses and the sting of perfume that never suited me, I made a silent promise. Not this time. 10:45 a.m. I slipped out into the hallway, heels clicking against polished marble. My heart pounded, not from nerves, no, from clarity. Dad's words still echoed. "After the toast, we'll announce it. Avery will hand them the penthouse." Like it was already theirs. Like my 10 years of sleepless nights and 70-hour weeks meant nothing more than a party favor. I leaned against the wall, staring at the brass elevator doors. My key fob, the black one etched with a single gold P, felt heavier in my clutch. That penthouse wasn't just square footage, it was proof that I wasn't invisible, no matter how hard my family tried to erase me. 11 a.m. Back in the ballroom, Felix, the hotel's event manager, was barking orders at staff. I caught his words. "Remember, 0 tolerance for harassment. If anything escalates, we shut the event down." My ears pricked. That was more than logistics. It was insurance. A clause tucked inside every venue contract. And suddenly, I knew. If my parents thought they could corner me in front of 200 guests, they'd overlooked one thing. I had my own leverage. 1 p.m. Rehearsal started. Lila twirled like she was auditioning for a bridal magazine spread, while Mom adjusted every detail. The flowers, the hem, even the smile plastered on my sister's face. Dad drifted around, shaking hands, rehearsing his toast under his breath. I caught a fragment. Our daughter's happiness. No sacrifice too big. My stomach twisted. They weren't even subtle. 3 p.m. I slipped into a side room, pretending to check my phone. In reality, I was typing fast. An email to Nora Patel, my mentor, my lawyer, the one person who knew about the protective clause buried deep in my trust. Subject line: activating affidavit of duress. Stand by. Sent. Time-stamped. Evidence. 6:01 p.m. Guests started pouring in, laughter bouncing off crystal and glass. I could feel the trap tightening with every clink of champagne. Aunts fluttered, cousins whispered, and through it all, I smiled politely. The perfect backdrop. Inside, I was steel. 6:30 p.m., Dad's voice boomed across the ballroom, testing the microphone. The squeal of feedback sliced through the chatter, sharp as a warning. I caught Mom's glance, smug, expectant. She thought she'd already won. But as I straightened my blazer and slipped the black fob deeper into my clutch, a different thought hardened inside me. If they want a scene, I'll give them one. Just not the one they planned. 6:45 p.m. The ballroom buzzed like a hive. Guests clinked glasses, waiters balanced silver trays, the band tuned their strings. To anyone watching, I looked like just another bridesmaid in a blazer. But inside, I was mapping every move. Step 1. Secure evidence. I caught Felix, the event manager, by the champagne tower. "Felix," I said quietly, "make sure the audio and security cams are rolling all night. And please, save the files. No overwrites." His brows lifted, but he nodded. "Zero tolerance, remember?" he whispered back. That was all I needed. Step 2. Set my legal shield. My email to Nora wasn't just a warning. It triggered a protocol we'd built months earlier. An affidavit of duress, ready to file if anyone tried to force my hand. It would turn their little ambush into a legal disaster. My phone buzzed. Nora. Received. Standing by. I exhaled, steady. Step 3. Neutralize Daniel. The groom wasn't malicious, just caught between love and ignorance. I found him near the head table, fidgeting with his cufflinks. "Daniel," I murmured, "if there's any surprise announcement tonight, do not add your voice to it. Please." He blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" I met his eyes. "You'll know when it happens. Just don't pile on." His jaw tightened, but he gave a slow nod. That was enough. Step 4. Plant my witness. Addison, the wedding photographer, was adjusting her lens. I leaned in. "Wide shots. Don't stop shooting no matter what, even if people yell." She smirked. "Drama? At a Quinn wedding? You bet I'll keep rolling." Perfect. By the time I slid back to my seat, the plan was humming in the background, invisible but alive. Every piece in place. Audio, video, affidavit, witnesses. My parents thought they were clever, setting me up for humiliation. They had no idea I'd built a firewall long before today. I lifted my clutch onto the table, fingers brushing the key fob. Black gold P cool against my skin. To them it was just real estate. To me, it was my line in the sand. 7:10 p.m., Mom swept past me in her sequin gown, perfume choking the air. She leaned down, smile painted on, whispering like venom. "Smile wide, Avery. Tonight you'll finally do something worthwhile for your family." My lips curved into something that looked like compliance. Inside, I was already sharpening my blade. They wanted a spectacle? They'd get one. Just not the script they'd written. 7:30 p.m. The reception was in full swing. The band played Sinatra. Kids darted between tables. The smell of roasted duck drifted under chandeliers. I kept my glass steady, counting down to the inevitable. But the smaller cuts came first. At the cousins' table, Derek leaned back in his chair, smirking. "Still no date, Avery. Penthouse all to yourself?" The table laughed. My aunt added, "Poor thing, you'll understand real family when you have kids." I smiled, lips tight. My sanctuary was being mocked as fantasy again, like I'd made it all up. Lila floated by, veil trailing, voice sugary. "Oh, Avery, don't mind them. She likes to exaggerate," she told the group, eyes gleaming. "Remember the Tesla story?" The laughter rolled again. My jaw ached from restraint. 7:50 p.m. A near disaster cracked the air. A waiter tripped near the cake, almond cream filling oozing from a slice onto the floor. I saw Marjorie's husband freeze, hand at his throat. He had a nut allergy. Felix sprinted, yanked the plate away just in time. A ripple of gasps, then nervous laughter. Comic relief, but my pulse spiked. Chaos was inching closer. 8 more p.m. I caught Dad near the head table, glass in hand, rehearsing. "For our daughters. No gift too great. Family above all." His voice carried. Guests nodded like it was gospel. My stomach dropped again. They were winding up the trap. 8:15 p.m. Tasha, a guest with more followers than friends, had her phone propped against a flute glass, live streaming, red dot blinking. My throat tightened. Did she know what she was capturing? I adjusted my blazer, fingers brushing the fob in my clutch, steel against silk, my anchor. 8:30 p.m. The music cut. Dad stood tapping his spoon against crystal. Ding, ding, ding. The band stopped. Conversations stilled. 200 faces turned. He cleared his throat, smile wide. Before we continue celebrating, Carol and I want to give our daughter and her new husband something truly special. He paused, letting the silence thicken. Family means everything to us, and tonight we honor that by announcing Avery has graciously decided to gift them her penthouse. Applause erupted. Glasses clinked. Some guests actually stood. My veins iced. Lila pressed her hands to her chest, eyes shimmering fake tears. Oh my God, Avery, really? The penthouse? You're the best sister ever. The microphone caught every word. Every head swiveled to me. I rose slowly, glass still in hand. I'm sorry. What? My voice carried clear, sharp. Dad's smile flickered. Sweetheart, your penthouse. For your sister and Daniel. We talked about this. No, I said, voice level. We didn't. The whisper started snaking through the ballroom. Selfish. Ruining her sister's night. Don't be difficult, Avery, Mom snapped into the mic. Tone sugar laced with poison. It's a family gift. It's my property, I answered steady, and I haven't agreed to anything. Gasps. Phones raised higher. Tasha's live stream blinked red, catching everything. Avery, Lila whimpered, lashes wet. I thought you loved me enough to help me start my marriage right. I tightened my grip on the glass. Your marriage doesn't require my home. Dad's face flushed crimson. Don't be selfish, you can buy another. Then you buy her one. The ballroom erupted. Gasps, murmurs, one woman clutching her pearls like a caricature. Cousin Derek shouted, "Stop being so difficult." Aunt Marjorie chimed, "With your big job, you can afford it." Every voice piled on. She's getting married, starting a family. What do you need all that space for? The walls closed in. Micro squealed as Mom seized it, fury cracking her mask. Everything is about money with you. Your sister's happiness should matter more than property. If her happiness depends on stealing mine, maybe we should examine that. The crowd gasped again. Someone booed, and then the climax. Mom stormed across the dance floor, sequins flashing like daggers. She gripped the mic, her perfume suffocating. "You disgrace this family," she hissed. Her hand arced. Crack. Her palm slammed across my cheek so hard my head snapped sideways. The mic squealed again, amplifying the sound. My champagne glass hit the floor, fracturing in a spiderweb crack. Silence. Absolute. Even the children froze. Cameras hung midair. The red live stream dot burned on. I stood there, cheeks stinging, blood metallic on my tongue. Slowly, deliberately, I turned back. My diamond stud, gift to myself after a deal, lay 10 feet away on the marble. I walked to it, heels clicking like gunshots, bent down and picked it up, slid it back into my ear, straightened my blazer, smoothed my hair. The room still held its breath, and inside me, something shifted. The slap didn't break me, it crowned me. The sting on my cheek burned, but the silence burned hotter. 200 eyes locked on me, waiting, judging, pitying. My mother froze mid-stance, her sequined hand still trembling, microphone shaking in her grip. I bent down, slid my stud back into place, and stood tall. My voice cut through the quiet. "Excuse me." Calm. Steady. Not a tear. The whispers swelled again, confusion rippling. I stepped toward the mic, plucked it right out of her clenched fist. Her jaw dropped. My blazer sleeve brushed hers as I lifted it to my lips. "This penthouse," I said, voice ringing clear, "is held in a trust. Any transfer under duress is voidable." I let the words hang, sharp as glass. "And you're all witnesses tonight." Gasps. Someone dropped a fork. Phones shot higher, recording. Dad stammered, Don't make this legal, Avery. It's family." "Family doesn't ambush each other with microphones," I shot back. The ballroom recoiled like a wave. From the corner, Felix raised a hand. "Per hotel policy," he called, loud enough for the back tables. "All audio and security feeds are live recorded, and we've been instructed to preserve them." His tone was professional, but his eyes flicked to me. Ally. Mom's face drained color. And then my phone buzzed in my clutch. I tapped it open, screen glowing in the darkened room. Nora Patel, incoming call. I hit speaker. Her calm, measured voice filled the ballroom. "This is Attorney Patel. To clarify, if Ms. Quinn is being pressured to relinquish property under duress, that affidavit is now active. All evidence tonight will be admissible." "Avery, tonight isn't a gift, it's evidence." The room erupted again. Shock, outrage, murmurs of lawsuit. Police. Affidavit. Mom's knuckles whitened. "You wouldn't dare." I already did. For the first time all night I smiled. Not forced, not brittle. Real. And then Daniel stood. The groom. The golden boy. The son-in-law-to-be. His voice shook, but it carried. I can't let this continue. Avery asked me earlier, if something like this happened, not to join in. And she was right. This isn't love. This isn't family. It's theft. The air cracked like thunder. Guests swiveled, stunned. Lila's eyes widened, tears spilling. Not staged this time, but raw. "Daniel, how could you—" He shook his head. "How could you?" Silence again, but a different kind. Not frozen, shifting. The crowd wasn't looking at me anymore. They were looking at my parents, at Lila, at the perfect family unraveling under the chandeliers. I tapped the mic once more. "So let's be clear. This penthouse is not available. It never was. And if anyone here thinks humiliation will change that, well, you just watched it fail." The applause didn't come. Not yet, but I felt it. The tilt of the room, the balance sliding. For the first time, the weight wasn't on me. It was on them. I slipped the mic back into Felix's hand, brushed past my mother's frozen form, and returned to my table. My cheeks still burned, but inside, the fire had shifted. From defense to offense. They thought they'd staged my downfall. What they didn't realize was that the real show had just begun. The ballroom didn't explode the way my parents expected. It cracked, splintered, like my glass on the marble floor, fractures spreading in every direction, whispers turned into phone screens glowing, notifications pinged, one after another. Tasha's live stream had already jumped from dozens to thousands of viewers. Comments scrolled, "Entitled parents in action. Stand your ground, Queen. Call the lawyer." Dad's face drained as his phone buzzed nonstop. He glanced down, muttered, "Clients." His hand shook as he read. They've seen this. One guest, a board member from a partner firm, stood abruptly. "Richard, I'll be in touch about our contract." His tone was icy. He walked out. Another followed, then another. The exits became a quiet parade of severed ties. Mom lunged for the mic again, voice shrill. "Stop recording. This is family business." Felix stepped between us, calm and professional. "Ma'am, per contract, harassment triggers a venue violation. Consider this your first strike. A second and the event is terminated." Her mouth opened, then shut. For once, she had no script. And then Nora's voice hummed again from my phone speaker. "Richard Carroll, consider this your formal notice of preservation. All footage and audio tonight are locked. You have 48 hours to issue a public apology to my client. Acknowledge her right to her property, her professional standing, and the abuse she endured. Fail, and we proceed to protective order and press release." The hush was deafening. Even the waitstaff paused. Trays balanced midair. Mom sputtered. "You wouldn't—" "I would," I said firm, "and she already has." Lila clutched Daniel's arm, mascara streaking. "Say something, Daniel. Make her stop." But he didn't move. He pulled his arm back, eyes fixed on me. "Your sister's right. This isn't about property. It's about respect, and I won't start a marriage built on theft." The gasp this time wasn't for me. It was for them. For her. The weight of the room shifted fully now. Pity peeled away from me and landed where it belonged, on the people who staged a public ambush and failed. I turned, facing both my parents. My cheek still stung, but my voice was ice. "You want conditions? Here they are." I raised one finger. "No more surprise announcements. 2, no talking about my assets ever. 3, therapy, both of you, if you want me in the same room again. 4, one single point of contact. Nora, not me. 5, 72 hours notice before any family gathering. Non-negotiable." Each bullet dropped like a gavel. Phones caught every word. Dad looked shattered, like someone had carved a hollow space where his certainty used to be. Mom swayed, gripping a chair for balance. Lila sobbed, whispering, "You ruined everything." "No," I said, quiet but final. "I stopped you from ruining me." The chandeliers glittered above us, but the shine had shifted. For the first time in 35 years, I wasn't the invisible daughter. I was the storm they couldn't contain. And as I tucked the black fob deeper into my clutch, I knew this battle was over. The war for respect had just begun. Weeks later, the echoes of that night were still rippling. Dad issued a stiff apology within the 48 hours Nora gave him. Cold, rehearsed, but public. Mom refused. She ranted online instead, calling me ungrateful. Screenshots flew everywhere. Strangers didn't side with her. They saw the truth for what it was. The contracts Dad lost that evening never came back. Lila's honeymoon was postponed indefinitely. Daniel's family wanted counseling before signing on to the Quinns for life. And me? I went back to my penthouse, slipped the black fob into the reader, and rode the elevator straight up to peace. The first night back, I stood by those floor-to-ceiling windows, Lake Michigan glittering in the distance. My cheek had healed, but the bruise under my ribs, the one from years of dismissal, was finally fading too. I sipped tea, not champagne, and felt something I hadn't in years: stillness. I poured part of my deal bonus into a women's shelter. It felt right. Not revenge, not even victory, just redirecting pain into something useful. Here's what I've learned. Blood doesn't guarantee family. Respect does. And boundaries aren't selfish. They're survival. If your peace feels fragile, guard it. If your success is belittled, claim it louder. And if the people who should protect you try to take it all away, remember, you don't owe them your silence. Every morning I still touch that fob with the gold P. It's not just for a penthouse, it's for proof. Proof that I chose myself. And I'd do it again. So now I want to hear from you. If you've ever had to draw a hard line with your own family, drop the word boundary in the comments. And if you want the exact 5-line text I use to say no without guilt, type template and I'll share it in part 2. Tell me, if you were in my shoes, standing in that ballroom with 200 people watching, would you have handed over the keys or walked away like I did? Make sure you hit subscribe and turn on the bell because this series isn't over. Next time, I'll show you how I enforce those 5 boundaries, step by step, so no one can cross them again. Remember this, your peace is non-negotiable, and sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose yourself. And if you think that was the last boundary they tried to cross, you don't know my family yet.